these guys are like raking in like 150, 160, 100. I think he said his barber made like 180K last year.
180K?
Yeah, cutting hair.
See? There was a reason why I wanted to cut people's hair.
I'm telling you, you should show this to your wife and tell her that she was wrong.
I will. This is going to be another business. I'm going to tell her this is another business idea that you didn't support me on, and look where we are, 180K behind.
Everybody to Bluntly Bears. We've come full circle. My first episode was filmed with this fine young gentleman, Mikhail Tribunskiy.
So much has changed since then.
So much has changed. Honestly, though, it has. I feel like it's been 2 months, I think. I think we were filming that in February.
Yeah, wow, 2 months. That's been a long time.
Yeah, I feel like 2 months it flies by, but like when you look back on it, a lot happens in 2 months. So yeah, it's good to have you, man. It's good to have you, man. What have you been up to since we last talked?
Well, I did gain about 15 pounds.
Again?
No. Actually, I don't even know since when I did gain weight, but I mean, that's not the topic for today.
Here nor there.
That's a whole different podcast. We won't go there today.
Yeah, tune into our losing weight podcast.
Let's hope I actually lose weight by then. to speak from experience, because at this point I had no good experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I did lose 15 pounds at one point, but
you found it again?
I did. Yeah, I found it. Found it. Yeah, found it in my kitchen.
Nice. Well, no. What have you been up to? I know you've been working a little bit. Yeah. How was tax season?
Yes, tax season. So I left my, like we spoke last time, I left my full-time accounting job doing taxes, and then I kind of realized that I probably shouldn't have left like just completely, and made a slower transition. And so I went back part-time. This is to a different firm, just so I can also get some experience, because my goal is to get my tax consultant license. And yeah, I went back. I worked there for one busy season. It was supposed to be like 25, 30 hours a week, but we were really behind, and my manager asked me to do 12-hour days for a week. And so I basically went back to the same old busy season.
12-hour days, 5 days a week?
Yeah, and then I also did some Sunday.
For how long?
Oh, it was just 1 week, though.
Oh, okay.
It probably would have been longer, but she asked me to just do it 1 week. Probably wouldn't have handled 2 weeks. I don't know how I did it back then, where it was like for 3 months straight. It's crazy.
I remember those days. Anytime I try to hang out with you, it was like 3 months in advance. I have to like, I mean, not like it's much different now. But
Yes. Well, yeah, I guess that is true. Nothing much has changed about that.
You're just busy with other things.
Yeah, it's the type of thing. It's like when you're working full time, you're like, oh, if I had extra time to do this or that, I could definitely get it done. And then when you do have that time, you're still like, where's the time going? Like, it's crazy. You always find something to do, and time. I
mean, not everyone. I think that's just you. Like, that's your personality. You always find something to do.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, my wife could definitely confirm, especially when we go anywhere on like vacation or something. I got to work on that. Like, if I'm on vacation, I got to focus on that and just relax and forget everything. But I'm always like, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. I mean, you do get some good business ideas when you're on vacation. I can say that for sure. But
what business ideas did you come up with on vacation? I'm curious.
Okay, this is I don't even know if I can call this a vacation. This was technically quarantine, but I wasn't really working on other stuff, and so I was just sitting there, and I realized that during quarantine, a lot of people were growing out their hair, and so I told my wife, I'm like, I'm gonna start cutting people's hair. I'm gonna start giving people haircuts, and I started watching YouTube videos. I was about to buy all this stuff to do it.
Like, you actually considered this?
I did. And good thing my wife was like, you don't know what you're talking about. But
I mean, your hair's always on fleek. Do you cut your own hair?
Thank you for the compliment, of course. But actually, oftentimes it isn't. This morning it was a bird's nest, but but no, I definitely don't cut my hair.
It's funny because I was just talking to someone else, my buddy, about our barbers, because I've been going to the same barber for 3 years, I think 3 or 4 years, and he has been going to another guy, but also for a while. And when I started, he was charging $15 per haircut. He cuts out of his garage.
Oh wow!
Like I think he lives with his parents, and he just cuts out of his garage. Then in April, he raised it to $35 an hour. So he's been raising it by $5 like every few months or so. Wow. And my buddy was saying the same thing about his barber. Like he's been raising it consistently.
Yep.
And like these guys are like raking in like 150, 160, 100. I think he said his barber made like 180K last year.
180K?
Yeah, cutting hair.
See? There was a reason why I wanted to cut people's hair.
I'm telling you, you should show this to your wife and tell her that she was wrong.
I will. This is going to be another business. I'm going to tell her this is another business idea that you didn't support me on, and look where we are, 180K behind.
You could have been living in the mansion.
Yes, exactly. Could have been, yeah. I won't go any further. I won't elaborate on that.
So you didn't end up cutting hair. Did you have any other ideas that didn't work out?
I know I had a few more. I can't remember off the top of my head. They were pretty wild. I know that just because at that point I was like, what am I doing? Just in my own head, I'm thinking, what am I doing? But it's worth a try. I mean, no, I can't remember right now.
Yeah. Well, anyways, you were, you got the busy season. Are you back to working part-time? Are you planning to stick working part-time for a while?
No, I'm still part-time. I went back to part-time like 3 days a week, 8-hour days. So it's about 24 hours a week. That's more than enough for me. With that 1 week, because of that 1 week, I worked, I think it was 62 or 64 hours. There were so many things I fell behind. And when I was sitting at work, I kept remembering things I had to do. And I just made a huge list of things. And so as soon as that week ended, we had like the following day after tax day, which tax day was April 18th this year. So April 19th, I was off. And then part of April 20th as well. There was just a lot of stuff I had to do. So I was just catching up by like 2 days, like full days. I was just working on stuff that I got behind on in that 1 week. It was pretty bad, but yeah, so I'm back part-time. I'm just getting my hours. I need 1,100 hours for the license, and I'm currently at, I want to say like 900. So I have about 140 hours left last time I checked. Okay. So that's working part-time. That's about 2 months. So in the next 2 months, I should have all my hours, and I'm going to apply to take that license.
Sweet.
So I can start counting how much money you make every year, because I know you've been lying to me.
So what's that process like, getting that license?
The process of that is, so first of all, you have to get your 1,100 hours. And then you have to, I think it's work under someone's supervision that has a CPA or a license for 2 years. I can't remember if there's, and then there's also, you have to take some education. But since I went to a university, I got my degree, that automatically I'm qualified because of my degree. And so just those I believe is those three things. And then, you apply to take the exam. I think it's also 4-hour exam, but it's just one exam. And it's specifically focused on individual returns, not business or anything of that sort. So, and it's much cheaper. I think it's like, I want to say like $80 every time you take it. You might have to pay for the application as well. But I mean, it's better than the CPA exam, which is $200 each exam, and there's 4 exams. So,
yeah, I'm still in shock by that. So you said individual only, so you're not going to be doing but you're still going to be doing business taxes, or?
I can't. Yeah, so I will be doing both. It's just the fact when I was reaching out to the department for Oregon license, the tax consultant license board, and I told them I have all these hours, because I have more than 3,500 hours of doing tax returns, but the problem is 90% of it is just business. And so I told them, they're like, no, business does not count, only individual. And so when you take technically she said I can do business returns right now, but it wouldn't be that smart, because I mean you want to do also the business portion of someone, say that if there's like a partnership, and you also want to do their individual, because there's really no point of them just going to you to do the partnership and then going to someone else to do the individual return, which it does happen quite often, but it wouldn't make sense for me. I want to have my own specific clients that I work from beginning to end on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. What else? What else have you been up to since then? Like, I think you told me a little bit off air, about some of the couch flipping stuff that you've started to kind of develop a little bit more. What's been happening there?
Yeah, no. With couch flipping, I do have to be honest. The past 3 weeks, I haven't sold a single couch, but it's because of busy season. I'm trying to catch up on stuff that I missed. But before then, yeah, no, I was doing pretty well. I found a friend. Well, didn't find. I have a friend from church. He. That's a weird way of saying
Friend
it.
wanted. You posted an ad on Craigslist.
Yeah, exactly. Just popped up. No, yeah, I was just reaching out to some people. I was like, is anyone interested, especially from the younger guys, to make some money, doing, flipping, helping me clean the couches that I'm flipping. And a friend of mine was like, yeah, I'll definitely want to do it because he's still young. He's going to school, and I want to pay him well too. So I pay him per couch that he cleans, and. Yeah, so it works out for him. It works out for me. The quicker he works, the more he can make. And it's kind of the system I was working.
So he just cleans. You do the finding, you do the posting and the selling.
And I did tell him that, later on I'll show him how to find couches, how to source to find the correct ones that I want, and, to send the offers. But we haven't really gotten there yet just because it's kind of my fault. I've been really behind on that. And so I haven't really been training him on that, but it's mostly just him cleaning. So I bring the couch, he cleans it, and then I go and deliver. And it's so much better for me just because it saves me time. I can pay him 20, say even like $25 an hour. It's still going to be worth it for me because if I do it, I want it to be at least like $50-$60 an hour, which typically what a couch flip comes out to.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. So that makes sense. I was going to ask, you do pay them an hourly, not like a percentage or anything?
No, I don't actually pay him per hour. That's what it kind of comes out to. I pay him per couch, and it depends on the couch and on the condition. I guess I should just have one criteria. If it's like a sectional, it's this amount, but it just makes more sense because I want it to be worth it for him as well. Because there could be a sectional couch that's basically clean, and I'll pay him, say, $40 for it. But then there might be a sectional that's absolutely filthy. Like, okay, by filthy, I mean a lot of hair, just spots everywhere, dirty. And I don't want to pay him $40. Like, I feel bad. Maybe that's just me. But like, I want to maybe pay him $60 for that couch. If I'm still going to have a good profit margin of like $200-$300 on it. Just so he gets compensated for his work as well.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. So you said scaling that would be kind of working with him, getting him to kind of do more of the sourcing and the selling and like delivery too, maybe, or
maybe down the road. I mean, I do all my deliveries on a box truck right now,
right?
So it's not that I don't really trust. I guess I don't really trust. I don't know how to say it, but I mean, it's a box truck. Not really everyone knows how to drive one.
Yeah.
So it's the type of thing like we'll see down the road.
Yeah, but that's cool. You're trying to grow it out a little bit. Like, obviously, that's not been the focus, but with you it seems like everything is kind of the focus.
It's pretty awful. I'm getting myself into way too many things. I actually recently got licensed from a real estate license as well, so I have that.
You did?
I did, yeah.
I thought you put that on pause.
Okay. I did put that on pause, but then I got an email I want to say 3 weeks ago where they were like, all right, man, like you got to finish getting your license or all your exams are going to expire, and I don't want them to expire. I don't know how much I paid per each exam, and then I also paid for the study material, and so I started calling around, and busy season ended on the 18th, and they were expiring on the 25th, which was 2 days ago, this Monday. And so I started calling around, but I knew it was going to be expensive because when you join a real estate firm, you have to pay there's like an MLS fee. I won't even be able to explain certain things to you, but basically it comes out to around $1,000 or $1,200 each year. You just pay to be in the MLS and so forth. And then when I was calling around, I called it was actually the second firm that I called, and he's like, yeah, we do have a program, because I told him I don't really want to practice it. I just don't want to lose my exams. I will practice it down the road if I want to sell like my parents' home, my brother's, sister's home, my own home, to just have it sitting there. And he's like, oh, we do have a program where you're basically, I forget what it's called, but you're in their firm, you are licensed. Okay, how do I say that? You are in their firm. You can't sell homes on your own, but they tell the Oregon Board of real estate board, whatever it's called, that they have you in the firm. Because that was my last thing. I did all my background checks. Surprisingly, it passed. I'm joking.
I didn't report anything you did at Sears. So that's probably why.
Oh man, I don't know. Have I shown you those videos?
The video of you throwing cash into the. Back when he used to be the cash, counting all the cash that came in from the registers and like in charge of the safe. I remember I get a Snapchat from him of just taking stacks of like dollar bills and just throwing them in the trash can.
I was just trying to flex for Snapchat. It was pretty bad. I probably shouldn't have done it.
I hired this guy. I felt like it was a bad reflection on me.
Hey, you were the only one that knew. I was always like, when I was doing it, I was looking around to make sure no one was looking because it was going to be so bad. I'm literally throwing like new stacks of cash literally into the trash. That rhymes as well. Okay, going back to going back to what I was saying about the real estate. So, and they have this program where you're sitting basically in one of their like one category of their firm where you can't buy or sell on your own, but you can refer clients over, and all you have to pay is $150 a year, and you're in that program, and you're able to, your exams basically won't expire.
So you can like reactivate it at any time too?
Yes.
You just pay the fees and stuff?
Exactly. So that's the nice thing. Like if I ever want to move, which I probably will, to a different firm when I do it, I'm going to try to find a firm basically that takes 0% commission. You only pay monthly when you're with them. And yeah, so I can switch anytime. Nice. And it's going to be nice just having that real estate license under my belt, just in case. You never know.
Yeah, oh my goodness. What else do you want to take on? Gosh, man.
Actually, I'm joking. No, I mean, there are a few more things I'm looking into right now, but
you're trying to mint some NFTs or something, or?
No, I actually don't know much about NFTs. I always hear Gary and all these other people talking about getting an NFT, but I'm not there yet. I don't know.
I feel you.
It's just so complicated. Even the whole metaverse thing. I know. I'm sure it's going to be big one day. I just haven't gotten into it yet.
So how do you avoid burnout? Like you seem like you're doing so much, and somehow you're still going. Like how do you avoid burning out?
I don't know. It might just kind of look like I'm doing a lot, but sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough. I don't know. It's kind of complicated. The biggest thing. It's funny. My sister was listening. I was talking to her a few days ago. She said she listened to the podcast, first podcast, and she's like, "Man, you were saying so many good things about your wife." Oh, well, that's what I'm going back to. I think the biggest thing is just the fact that my wife supports me in all these things. Like that's what kind of motivates me to keep trying something new. And she gives me wise decisions as well. I think that's kind of like one of the biggest things that helps me in a way avoid burnout is just listening to what my wife says and doing it or not. And there's been some things that she's just been like, don't do it because it just doesn't make sense. But as far as time management, it's just, I feel like I work too much. Like sometimes I feel bad that I don't spend enough time with my son and my wife, but I just work a lot, and it's usually till 7, 8, 9 p.m.
That's just like working on whatever?
Yeah, my own stuff. Yeah, because throughout the day I do spend some time with them, but sometimes I'm just like, okay, I got to focus on this 100%. It's kind of hard to explain. I don't even know how to explain it, to be honest. I just enjoy doing it. That's kind of my biggest thing. When I enjoy doing something, I don't even notice the burnout. Sometimes I do feel like I go to sleep, I'm just out of it. Like I just feel so tired. I like to look at the positive side of life. That's what helps me as well. If something's going on, I'm like, okay, how can I turn this into something positive? It's kind of cliche. I don't even know how to explain it, to be honest. It's just I try to always look at the positive side, and I do things I actually enjoy. That's the biggest thing.
Are there I hear that. Like, are there things that you do that you have to do? Like, I'm sure like in the process of creating a video, there are tasks that might not be as enjoyable. Like, is that the case for you?
There's some aspect to it. When, for example, if I'm editing a video, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go record all this footage today, and then when I get home, it's like, okay, where do I begin? Where do I start? It's always the beginning I always have to push myself in the beginning. Like I talked to my wife today. I didn't edit a video for 3 weeks, and when I got into it a few days ago, I'm like, man, this is gotta like restart. Where do I start? But then when I started editing, it just started flowing one after another. I'm like, okay, I'm actually getting back into it, and it's just not slowing down with the editing portion. But I feel like I'm just going in circles. I don't know where I'm going with this.
No, you're saying like editing sometimes is the hard part, like just getting started to.
Yeah, editing is a big portion. Like if I could find an editor that could portray my vision of a video, I would pay him good money to do it. Honestly, I would, because I see YouTube as a long-term investment, and so I really don't mind paying and losing money, because I mean I've lost money in the stock market, 5,000-6,000, like nothing. So having an editor. It is. I don't know why I said that. No, I think it's just I've gotten kind of used to it, and I know when I speak sometimes to my dad, I'm like, oh yeah, I lost like 4,000. He's like, oh, like that's crazy, that's insane. How?
Yeah.
But I think we just got with like the Robinhood apps, we just get so used to seeing our accounts go up and down, just kind of get used to it.
And it's like the way you phrase that, like it's a long-term investment, right? So it's not like it's just a waste of money if you do pay someone to do it, because this is gonna in the long term pay off, right?
Exactly. Yeah. For me, like I would rather. This is gonna be a weird flex. I don't know why I'm going there, but like I would rather lose a good chunk of money in the stock market and learn something from it than go and buy a car from a dealership when I don't have the money to or if it's like my last 20,000 I have and I go buy a car from the dealership just to have it, not like for a business purpose or something. Like I would rather do something in the stock market and lose money, just because I know I'll learn something from it, and it might be a mistake, but I won't repeat it again later on. Which I guess you can say that with a car too. But some people just do it consistently and they don't learn from it. But yeah, with YouTube. So like with YouTube, it being a long-term investment, I wouldn't mind, investing, say even like losing 6,000 first year, 4,000 first year, but having an editor work on it. Because with YouTube, the biggest thing is like the editing. Like even sometimes the footage that you record might not all be that great, but if you create a storyline, like there's been some YouTubers I've been subscribed to, like for example, one great example, and I really love this YouTuber. He's just amazing. Arac. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah.
Dude, I obviously I subscribed to him. I can't say I'm like one of the early subscribers, but I subscribed to him I think when he was around like 400,000 subscribers. And he was almost hitting 6 million now.
Wasn't he the one, he made a goal of like reaching 1 million by the end of the year or something?
Exactly. And you can tell why he reached that goal. And I think really, I don't want to say anyone can reach that goal, but anyone can gain a lot of subscribers if they learn how to edit. Like if you look at their whole video, it's literally a storyline. And it just one after another just keeps catching you. And so if I could find myself an editor that could do that for me.
It's an art. That's the thing that people don't realize is like, it seems very like X's and O's, like it's mechanical or something. It's not. Like I've started to realize it's really an art. It's the same thing with like sound engineering and recording. There's a reason these people there's a reason musicians go to like professional studios, and like there's a reason that musicians hire professional videographers and people hire professional videographers to shoot stuff, is because it's an art. And I don't know, selfishly, the reason I wanted to ask you that question is because that's something that I've been struggling with, is like, with the podcast and everything that I've been trying to do, especially, starting to do video, I've been like starting to hate things.
Yeah, it does. And it's unfortunate because creating content is just, it's awesome.
It's
like
so
you
fun.
might agree. It's so much fun because it's literally, you're like, it's art. Like you said, it's art. But when it comes down to it and you're like sitting there and struggling, and when you're like, okay, I have to dedicate time to this and this, but I also have to edit. That's kind of what I'm coming to as well. I'm like, I want to do this, but then I have to edit. And then I'm like, why am I saying it that way? Like creating content is so much fun, but editing kind of sometimes ruins it for everything. Like
it's so funny because I had literally the same exact conversation with myself between yesterday and today.
Really?
I was like telling myself, I was like, oh man, like, okay, gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this. I'm like, wait, why am I saying got to? Like, why do I say I have to do this? Like, I literally get to do this. This is something like I'd like, it's an opportunity I created, like, I have for myself. why am I like starting to despise it or make it a chore?
Yeah.
And
unfortunate.
It's like, I'm starting to feel it a little bit, and I'm starting to think like, what's the...
Yeah. And when it comes to like, if you're just looking for, some kind of basic editing for someone to, get a video done for you, just something super basic, you don't want to add any animations or anything. I mean, you can always go to like Fiverr and find someone for super cheap to do the editing. But again, if you want to do top-notch editing, it takes a lot of time, and it's big time investment. That's for sure, because you got to create a story to catch a person's attention and keep them all the way through, because if you only get their attention for the first 10, 20 seconds and nothing else, it's going to be difficult. And that's what I'm trying to work on my videos. Is like, I know the first 10 seconds are crucial. Like, if you don't catch someone's attention, they're going to be gone. And your retention rate is just going to go down, and your video's not going to be pushed as far. And I'm still working that. I'm still pretty bad at it, but it's part of your growth.
Have you seen Mr. Beast like explain his technique to Colin and Samir? Do you watch Colin and Samir?
I've watched Colin and Samir. Yeah.
Did you see that interview with them?
I don't think I've seen that portion, because I saw. Is it when they were in his warehouse?
It was like a 2-hour.
Yeah. I think I might. Maybe I do remember, because I did listen to it, but I might have missed some stuff or zoned out.
Yeah.
It was really interesting, though.
No, he talked about like that first 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And how much he packs into that first 15 seconds.
I remember. I remember the video where he said that the bounty hunter or the FBI guy had to go after him.
That's what they talked about.
Yep. I remember that one.
He introduces multiple storylines, introduces like a twist that the people have to stick around for.
Yep.
It's interesting. Like, I mean, it's an art. Like, all these little things. My buddy was telling me there's a podcast he watches where they do video podcast, and the guy wants people to like be the first to watch. Basically, he created this thing where on the YouTube video of the podcast, there is a QR code, and the first person to get to that QR code to scan it gets an Amazon gift card. But it only appears for like a second in the video.
Interesting.
So basically, like, you literally have to watch the whole time. And so now, like, that's motivating people to subscribe, hit the notification bell, because like they want to be the first one there.
That's pretty cool.
And then they have to like actually watch the whole thing and pay attention. Like, it's interesting, like the creative ways people get to.
Yeah. And I do agree with you on that. And another thing that also popped up for me is like that Eric is doing. And I know, have you heard of Ryan Trahan?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Eric is doing the whole thing. If I reach 10 million subscribers, we'll do the largest pizza in the world. I don't know if you've seen it. It's kind of something he repeats in every single video. He's like, talking about biggest pizza. Pizza Hut said if I reach 10 million subscribers by the end of the year, they're going to help me make the biggest pizza ever, like world record. And so he's always telling people to subscribe, and people are subscribing. His subscriber growth is insane. If you look at the chart, you might pull it up when you're going to be showing it up. It's pretty crazy. And then with Ryan Trahan, his thing was, he said he's never had a grandfather, and so he wanted to have Dr. Phil become his grandfather. And so his goal was to pass Dr. Phil in subscribers, and he also his subscriber growth just shot up like crazy. And he already passed Dr. Phil, but that was one of the things that he consistently talked about in his videos, like, subscribe, we got to pass my future grandfather or something like that. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, giving people a reason to feel like they're connected, they're part of it, they're part of something, you know?
Exactly.
They're part of the biggest pizza or whatever.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just trying to like wrap my head around everything you've been doing since we last talked. Obviously the job that's gotten busier, the couch flipping, the YouTube. Those are the three things that you're focused on. Those are your priorities. Like, what else are we missing here?
I think just those are the three. I'm trying not to get into anything else, but just focus more on creating content and just getting my hours for my license, because my license is something definitely I want to get, because just building my own firm later on, having my own clients would be nice.
So after you get your license, what's the plan? Are you sticking at the same company or?
No, I'll probably stick with them. Yeah. She's been very helpful, my manager. She's been teaching me a lot. Like, I'm just very glad I ended up in that firm. And I've told her many times, my goal is to get the hours so I can get, my own license. And recently she gave me a little bonus for the busy season. And she mentioned, like, I'm looking forward to teaching you a lot more things. And, I can tell that she wants me to learn, and she's going to teach me and guide me going forward. And that's what I want to do. I want to stick with her while growing my own practice, and say I do run into some situations, I'll have her by my side where I can go and ask her questions, because I'm also, working for her. So I think it's going to be a good balance. But just when that happens, I'm going to have to decide how I'm going to go about everything else with couch flipping and YouTube, because working on my own clients will be my, I'm on my off days. I'm not going to be doing it obviously during work.
So how far down the line do you think that is, like your own practice, your own firm?
Oh, it definitely has to happen before next busy season, because I've had, quite a few friends and family reach out and be like, okay, when are you starting? We want to go through you. So that definitely gives me some motivation to continue. And I assume you're going to go through me too. Joking. I might give you a discount first time. Since you had me on your podcast, fine, I'll do it for free. No, but definitely before next busy season, just because I want to get my own practice in, as well as as a licensed tax consultant. And I know I could go far with this, and that's kind of one of the big things with YouTube as well. I want to funnel a lot of clients through my my tax consultant license firm as well, because that's where you can get a lot of your clients. And that's kind of the goal. I don't know how well it's going to work, but who knows? Maybe down the road, I'm going to get some clients that way as well. Yeah. So kind of thinking long term ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know we touched on it a little bit on our first podcast, but that's pretty cool, man. I definitely think it's going to be an awesome long term plan, and definitely with the network that you've been building out here, I think that's going to be really awesome to kind of offer that service.
And definitely helps surrounding myself with people like you, that are also like-minded and doing things like I'm so glad you've started this podcast. I know, just like I was talking about YouTube for the longest time, you've been also wanting to start a podcast, and you were in that situation where you were like, do I buy a house? Do I start a podcast? And here you are, you bought a house and you started a podcast. So, I mean, you made some big time moves, and I'm sure it's a blessing for you, because it obviously gets you going and, stay motivated and keep going, because this is big. This is not something that everyone follows through with what they say. They can say a lot of things, but they don't actually do it. And I'm glad that you did.
Yeah. I appreciate that. No, it's funny. I had a couple podcasts ago, I heard this guy, Alex, and we were talking about, just his journey and kind of how he had to surround himself with a lot of like-minded people that kind of pushed him to get to where he is. And he asked me about how I started this podcast, and literally, like, it was just telling him back to those conversations you and I had. I still remember at your house, like when I came over and like we literally had tea for like 4 hours.
Yeah. I think it was supposed to be like a 1 or 2 hour thing, and then we just kept going.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was amazing, because obviously there were results from that.
No, I remember before you started your YouTube channel, how excited I was to see you do it and to see where that takes you. And I think it's just cool because, like, I was talking to someone else about this too. Like, it's crazy how one decision can like form so many other things in your life. Like, you started the YouTube channel. Obviously that's grown, but it also led you to couch flipping, right?
Oh, 100%. I would have never gotten into couch flipping if it wasn't for YouTube. I was like, okay, I got to make content. Oh, I'll do couch flipping. Fine. I'll give it a try. I tried it, and it's like crazy where it led me.
Yeah. Like you were saying how you like basically lived off couch flipping for a few months when you quit your accounting job, right? So like,
exactly.
It's crazy how, so many things get held up in like those small decisions. They seem small in the back, like looking back, it seems small. Like, oh yeah, I just recorded the podcast, or like, yeah, I just recorded the video and posted it. But like, there's so much hesitation to like take that leap.
Because with time, you also get comfortable in front of the microphone, which then leads you being comfortable, say, with doing some public speaking stuff, hearing yourself in the microphone. It's not that's like, sometimes it's difficult. Even today, like, or on Sunday, I was doing some stuff for youth service, and I was speaking into the microphone, and it's just interesting hearing your own voice. But then over time, you start getting so used to it, and definitely doing stuff like this really does help you out going forward. If you wouldn't do this, then, I mean, you'd have to practice a lot more to get to where you are now. Yeah. It's just like those things form you. Like, that's the thing is like, we're not just
like a concrete person. We're people that change and grow. And I think like doing things like YouTube, like you just don't see like the impact it's going to have on you in 5-10 years or even a year or whatever. It's been almost a year for you, right? Like 9 months, 8 months, 10 months.
I want to say May or June is going to be 1 year. I think, June is going to be 1 year for me.
And it's crazy how much has happened. So I've been trying to, I mean, I have no idea like where this is going to lead me. I've just been doing it for fun, and it's fun to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think it's gonna, it's gonna be interesting where it's gonna lead. But like my goal for your, I guess that sounds weird, my goal for your podcast, but like hopefully I'm able to connect with, higher net worth individuals down the road, get connected with some YouTubers and possibly, get them here. Cause I think that would be good exposure for you. And I mean, it would possibly be good practice for them, because I don't know if they know anyone who's invited them to a podcast. I mean, yeah, you're still starting out, but I think that would be pretty cool to get some people on here, like my buddy Graham Steffen. Hey, you never know. Maybe that's going to be a reality one day.
We'll see. No, I mean, honestly, I've just had so much fun, like learning about so many people. Like I've had an accountant, I've had people in construction, I've had a firefighter on my show so far.
Interesting.
I've like had so many people with so many different personalities, and hopefully, that just continues, and I have lots more to learn. I guess selfishly, and the main reason that I had you here is because, like you were saying, surrounding yourself with like-minded people, and I try to be around people like you as much as I can, because like you're doing so much that every time I talk to you, like it fuels me to like, man, I gotta do more. I gotta keep going. So I guess in your perspective, in my shoes, how would you avoid burnout? Like, what would be your advice to kind of take this to the next level and keep momentum going?
I think the biggest thing, obviously, is like, stay consistent, but don't put yourself down when you do feel burnt out, where you're just like, because I feel like I had that in the past 2-3 weeks with videos. I'm like, okay, I got to post something. And so that was always weighing on me, like, oh, I got to post. So it kind of turned into like something that I don't enjoy doing. It started sounding like something I don't enjoy doing. So even if sometimes, like, if there's a week where you're just like, man, like, this is just, I'm not feeling it, like, it's fine. Like, don't do anything that week, kind of maybe that would be a good time for you to go somewhere and just, work on your mindset. Think of what ways you can improve. There's nothing wrong with stepping back a little bit. And, even acknowledging maybe you did something and you felt like that wasn't right. Like my whole situation with leaving my job completely, to me, it was more of like an ego thing. Like, no, I'm not going to go back to work. Like, so that's it. I left. I'm going to just do it on my own. I'm going to have that nice, cool story where I left my job and I never looked back. But then I'm like, no, that's fine. I'll go back. I'll start, going in slowly. I'm already making, progress. And so there's nothing wrong with stepping back a little bit, so you don't get completely burnt out. Because there's a good chance if you get burnt out, you might start hating something, and you don't want that to happen.
Yeah. No, that's helpful. I guess in terms of like, I feel like there's other things I can do, or like investments I can make. Like, for example, like I think for me, one thing I really want to do is create like shorts or like TikToks of like little snippets of my podcast. But man, video editing just gets me. Like I like doing the audio. I like doing,
I think we'll work on that together, because I'm trying to get some of my videos to be turned into shorts or Instagram reels. So we'll have to do a little mastermind on that to try to figure out how we can get it down. Because from what I heard something recently where Facebook is like putting in a whole bunch of money into promoting reels. So I mean, like, this is huge. There's a lot of exposure and money to be made there. So we gotta look into that. Yeah,
I guess my question, like the overall question for that is though, like definitely we'll look into that. But like in my shoes, I don't know if like the podcast is ever going to be monetized, or like obviously like Spotify doesn't monetize or any of that unless you get like a Joe Rogan deal. But like, would you in my shoes, would you pour more money into it, like getting people to do thumbnails for the different episodes, getting people to edit video? Would you do that even if you don't think like the medium itself is gonna make money in the future?
When you were speaking, I was actually about to go there when you finished talking and you went there. So that's great. Yeah, no, 100% I do see it because, this is definitely something you've been wanting to do for a long time and you're in it. And you might not see a lot of results even in the first year. Like do it. Like but go on Fiverr, possibly find someone that can edit your podcast, send them all the footage, tell them to, cut these portions out. And it's not going to be expensive. I don't think it should be expensive. I found packages for where they say like they'll do a YouTube package video for you and it's like $20. It's like super cheap. And is it worth your time to sit there for 2-3 hours editing or go work at your sales job and make that extra, I don't know, $50 while you pay someone $20, So
Sure.
I would look into that, and thumbnails I think is a big thing. Definitely get those thumbnails. Like for me, maybe I should get into Photoshop. And I know a lot of YouTubers are like, if you become a YouTuber, like know how to do Photoshop, it's going to help you. But at this point, I don't know if it's worth my time looking into it right now. And so I just pay some guy to do my thumbnails. I think it's like 10 or $12 per thumbnail. So, yeah, but yeah, no, definitely. I would put it, I would look at it as a long-term investment, put money into it. Yeah, you might be down the hole the first 2, 3, 4 years. You don't know what's going to be ahead. Cause I mean, like, you've been crazy supportive of my channel. You've always been, helping me out with whatever. And I do appreciate the microphone you got me, man. Like that's a game changer. Right? I noticed it really helped me with like editing because my other microphone I had to make sure it wasn't muffled or anything. This one I could shout into it and it sounds super crisp and nice. So like you've been very supportive of my channel and I appreciate that, and I'm only gonna give back to your podcast as well. So hopefully down the road, if my channel takes off, my hope is to bring you with me. That's kind of my big goal for you as well, because I know you've been really motivated to get into podcast or start something. Not everyone is there. Like a lot of people just want to work their 40 hours. Nothing wrong with that. But some people, besides their 40 hours, they also want to start something new. They're motivated. They have that spirit in them that they want to, continue doing something new. And I mean, I do see that in you. So
I appreciate that. It's just been a lot of, I guess, doubt is the word for it, because like I was just thinking about like, man, I've poured in a couple grand already to get this thing up and rolling. And that's just, I mean, obviously you don't have to. I could have started with $100, got a microphone for $100, but I did want to make it quality. And I'm paying to upload my podcast. I paid to get the album cover, and like there's things I'm like, man, like why am I throwing all this money at this? And I'm like, man, like is it going to be worth it? Sure, I'm enjoying it, but like as a hobby, it's an expensive hobby so far. Yeah. So it's just been one of those things that.
But it seems like something you're passionate about and you're enjoying doing it. That's the thing. Like, there's one thing if you enjoy, say, skydiving, and you consistently pay every single week $200 to $400 to go skydiving, but you have that adrenaline, and then what? Like, your money's gone. But here you're actually investing into something that can help you long term. This is a long-term plan. That's like when I started YouTube. I started immediately from the first video. I paid the guy to do my thumbnails. Did I know it was going to grow that quickly to 1,000 and start bringing me some type of revenue? No, I didn't. Yeah. But I had a vision for long term, and I'm like, I'm going to go all into this. I'm going to put money into it, however much it is, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000. Like maybe there is a point there to an extent
10,000,
to where
that's a
well, okay, I guess yeah. So maybe there could be a point where maybe you should realize that this isn't something for you. But I mean, looking at what skills you have, you've had an album you've released before, so like how to edit with like audio. You've worked on some video projects as well. I remember those music videos.
Grandes, remember that one?
Yes, I do.
Our Spanish project.
Yes, I think that was like the only time when I've ever done a project for schools that had to do with like video or something where I didn't do it, because it usually falls on me, like I had to do it. But now I look back on it, you were like, no, I got it, and then you did the whole thing. So thank you for doing that.
I was up all night editing. I remember the day before it was like due. I was anyways.
But
Yeah, so you saw it as a long term from day one.
Yeah. So, and like I said, you have the skill sets for a podcast. Like if you were just some person that really didn't have, like you were very shy, you really didn't know how to edit nothing, then yeah, you might learn, but then realize that this isn't for you.
Sure.
But I mean, you already have so many different skill sets and you're enjoying it. So just look at it as long term. I mean, you have a sustainable job, it pays your bills and you have some money left over. Just use this as an investment and just keep going at it. Don't stop for sure.
Yeah.
I'm excited for where this is going to go. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm keeping track of the time. I know you got to go here shortly. So Mike, I appreciate it. We'll have to make this reoccurring. Learned a lot. I was very selfish with this podcast. This is all for me. I just wanted to
in what way
pick
were
your
you
brain.
selfish?
I just had you because I wanted free advice. So
I don't charge for advice.
No,
I'm your friend. You can always call me, man. Except after like 12, because I like to sleep sometimes.
Anyways, man, where can people find out more about you and keep up with you?
Yeah, so I'm gonna crack a joke, then I'm like, no, I'm good. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram. It's my name, Mikhail, except without the I. There's an X, Mikhaxl. I don't know why I decided to do that. I think
you're extra large.
Maybe. I mean, I am pretty big.
Swole.
No, I haven't been to the gym in years. No, one of my friends told me, he's like, oh, because I changed it to because Mikhail was taken, and so I just changed the I to an X, and then one of my friends was just thinking about why I did it, and he's like, there has to be a reason why you did that to make it sound nice. I'm like, I wonder what it could be. He's like, oh, let's do this. There's no I in ego or something like that, and so I took out the I and put an X in there. I don't know. It's just something stupid, but I still have to make up.
I appreciate the backstory for why you chose that.
That was not the reason. No, Mikhail was just taken, so I put an X to make it short. But yeah, and that's also my YouTube channel, so Mikhaxl. Yeah, you can find me on there, and
awesome.
Just make sure you like, subscribe. Just like for this podcast, like, subscribe, turn your post notifications on.
I was just about to ask you to for the call to action, so I appreciate that.
Sometimes I say that just in my sleep.
I'm trying to learn. So awesome, man. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week.
Thank you.